All right, welcome to the Cockney Reds podcast, episode number 4. It's been a couple of weeks, so apologies about that. We're going to make sure that we get it back to weekly, get it back to consistent. It's Tuesday, the 20th of April. It's quite late actually in the evening, so a lot's kind of happened. First of all, just an update. We've actually got 24 subscribers, so thank you to each and every one that's out there. Jeez. If we can get to 30 by the end of the month, I'll be absolutely gassed. So if you can like, share, subscribe, and comment, that'll be great. So yeah, it's going to be a big one. Like since our last one in the last couple of weeks, we've had 5 wins in a row actually. So our last game on Burnley against on Sunday, big win, 3-1. But it feels like a week ago because like since all of this has happened, obviously it's been the whole little conundrum about the Super League. So it's been looking like the end of football as we know it is going to come to an end. Some have been saying. So I was thinking that we're going to come into this a bit down and that, but then since then there's been a whole turnaround again as well. So like now we're in a situation. So we're in a situation where it seems like it's off and Woodward seems like he's gone. So going to get straight into it. We've got a full house here today. We've got Ronnie in the top right. We've got Eugene in the top left. We got Culpz in the bottom left.
Come on.
We've got Mark directly below me, middle. And we got Justin in the bottom right. Welcome everyone.
What's going on?
How is everyone feeling? I mean, obviously now, like with everything where we are now, I mean, just as a recap, Mark, do you want to like explain kind of where things are at the minute? Like, how are you feeling and about the whole situation? And
well, listen, 21 might still be on, as people keep telling me. So, no, it's good.
Come on.
Listen, it's good, man. It's good because I think closing at the end, specifically from Premier League point of view, closing at the end of the season as strongly as possible, consecutive wins, you know, just putting that pressure really just on City will help us as well. So I think, yeah, it should be a good end to the season. Obviously, Europa League, obviously got semi-final to come or whatever. So I'm fairly happy, to be honest, as to where we are to close out at the end of the season. Obviously, we'll go on to talk about the European Super League, but also good news about Woodward deciding to kind of call it a day. Because if someone feels like they're not capable of carrying out the work, they should obviously rightly step down. So, you know, I think he's made the club enough money now. So hopefully they appoint a successor that probably is more on the football side of things. You know, so that's what I would say so far.
It's a good roundup. Well, obviously we'd normally be going into it, like having a recap of the game before, but I'm thinking maybe we should just get straight into it. I know, Culpz, you've been quite vocal about this whole situation with the European Super League. So what are you thinking? Like, how are you feeling? It's been a whole kind of wave of emotions, I suppose, yeah?
Yeah, man, right now, like the latest emotion, obviously I'm just happy that's not happening, man. I think like what everyone's saying about it fucking up football is right, because they was just gonna take out the competition, just make it some fantasy football kind of stuff, bro. And I just wasn't on it, man. Get me? I know you was on it, like I was on it. You get me? Yeah.
You know what? I was looking at it, and like 90% of the fans, it seemed like was against it, but it wasn't unanimous, that's for sure. And like, I mean, there were kind of a few things, and I suppose different feelings around the whole situation, and different reasons as well, actually. So, I mean, in terms of that sense, I mean, Eugene, how are you thinking? What are your thoughts on the whole Super League and where you are? Disappointed, happy that it's all done? I mean, like, what did you think of the whole?
I was quite looking forward to it, to be honest.
Looking forward to what, the Super League?
Yeah, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking forward to it. I was looking forward to having a Super League. Yeah, I was looking forward to having a Super League, having a league with all of the best teams in Europe, something to replace the Champions League. I guess the structure wasn't exactly the best in terms of there being no relegation, but I feel like that was the only problem with it. Apart from that, I was happy to see that if I can see the best teams in the world play on a weekly basis, then yeah, why not? Definitely, I was for it. And if those clubs, those owners putting their money into the clubs can get more money back, which they should be, and eliminate the middleman like UEFA and all these different people in the middle who are corrupt themselves, then I'm all for it, to be honest. Everyone's talking about greed. Huh? The fans.
Yeah.
The fans. Yeah, that was the problem. The problem was with the relegation part. That was the problem. If they could have tweaked that, I think this thing would still be running. He said, "Oh yeah, the fans."
It was a minor tweaks, and there was a bit of an overreaction of
I'm telling, in my opinion, if they would have fixed up that minor tweak, this thing would have been running. This thing would have been running. The only people who would have been pissed would have been the Skies and the BT, and you would have still had the Gary Nevilles and stuff probably chatting shit because, you know, the rights and the TV rights is probably going to start going to Amazon or the Zone, all of these kind of things. But that was the only thing. Dude, Gary Neville, nah, man, he needs to come off there. Sometimes he just goes on these little rants and everything. He thinks he owns football and everything, but he's a failed football manager. He needs to remember that as well. So,
you know what? You're one of the only people though that, or you're in a small kind of group of people who are actually against, who are actually for us.
No. But you know what it is. You know what it is. It's what gets pushed out into the media. There's a lot of people that are for this, but what you see on Sky Sports and all of these different media outlets is how bad it is. But tell them to have balanced views and interview people who, you know, who are for it. But there are people who are for it, but they won't interview those because it's not in their best interest, right? Sky needs to keep the Premier League and everything running and let it be the most attractive. But with the Super League, it threatened that. Super League was going to be the most attractive and prestigious award. So people would tune into that, and Premier League potentially could have been secondary. So the coverage that was getting sold on it was all the negative coverage. For the first time ever, they put onto YouTube free, you can watch Sky Sports, the Monday Night Football, free on YouTube. Did you know that? Did anyone see that? They never do that. They never do that, by the way.
All right, Ronnie, what's your thoughts in? Like, I mean, obviously, all right, we got a pro, we've had a con. All right, where were you? Where did you stand with it?
I was kind of like in the middle, really.
Okay.
Because I heard some good things about it, but then things like I heard some of the games are going to be played in like America and like just abroad, like, but not in like either club,
really?
Either club's like home ground. Yeah. So I'm thinking like they're going to be showing the games at like 5 o'clock in the morning or some damn time.
I think that was Gary Neville spreading a gossip.
I was about to say, to Eugene's point, is that what's been fed to you?
That's what's been fed. That was a bit of gossip. That was a bit of gossip from Gary Neville, man.
Dave, you've been a bit quiet with all this. Like, I mean, well, you haven't actually, but where do you stand with all of this?
Where do I stand with the Super League?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of, obviously, we've got like quite a mixed. I mean, there doesn't seem to be kind of anyone. Well, Culpz is quite strongly against it. I think Mark.
Do you know what I think it is? Yeah, I think the concept of it is intriguing. It's like, yeah, like you just said, it's got the whole entertainment factor of the best teams playing each other week in, week out. But I think my issue with it was who decides who are the best teams, because they're just taking a bunch of teams who are big in terms of like financial backing, and the big clubs like United, Arsenal, Tottenham. You can say are a big club if you want to go down that road, but it's just like they've just selected a handful of teams and said, all right, you guys are the best teams, when really and truly that's not the case. And I think they went wrong in a lot of areas, and I think that's one of the major factors. Also, I think the fact that it was going to probably have a negative effect on like things like the Premier League, Champions League. It was too much. It was too much at one go. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's too much to risk just for this Super League that no one's seen work before. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they've tried and tested something. It's not going to affect any other league or affect any other competition, and they can see it's booming. So now they want to take it to the next level. It's kind of just like this was all or nothing, and it was too much. You can't just all of this history and years of fans and everything all gone just for one Super League. It was never going to work. It was never going to happen. I think they tried to push the boat out a bit too much and try to take too much power at once. Yeah, it was never going to happen. I big up the Premier League.
Yeah, but the thing is, I found that it was just like to Eugene was kind of like was a bit dismissive about it, saying that it's the most prestigious trophy. So obviously the people like the Premier League are gonna be.
It could be. It could have been. I think that's what the threat was. I think
I do get that from purely from like a corporate perspective. Yeah, I hear that. But from a fan's perspective, I feel like it's really important from me anyway. I've always thought the domestic league is the bread and butter. I mean, you always want to win the Champions League. The Champions League final was still bigger than any Premier League game. But at the same time, you know that as a collective, the Premier League is your domestic league. You just want to be able to win your domestic league, isn't it? So I have a problem already with you saying that it was going to be more coveted than the Premier League.
No. I wasn't, I wasn't saying that it was going to be more prestige than the Premier League. I was saying that the fact that Sky's coverage on it was so anti against the Super League is because they felt threatened that this was going to be more prestige than the Premier League.
No.
Sky
essentially
don't have the Champions League though anyway.
Yeah, but they're all connected. They're all connected with BT and the Premier League. And if they feel like that this Super League is now gonna take precedent over the Premier League, that's more subscribers to wherever it may be on Amazon as opposed to it being on Sky and BT. So they're probably looking at this and being like, "Raw, like what's going on? We need to shut this thing down." Because if they're getting all of the best teams in the world and they're having their own league, why would now anyone want to tune into what's going on in the domestic league? So I'm not saying it would have been, but I'm just saying that's how they were thinking.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
But what about the competition element?
Yeah, bro.
No, I didn't want it. I didn't want it because of the competition element to it. Because I know, Eugene, you said if they tweak the competition element, but the competition element was the selling point. It was that is literally what it is. We are the 15 clubs and, we decide, essentially what happens here. And that removes the competitive element. So who's to say that Barcelona should be, in there above West Ham or whatever? Who's to say that if West Ham finish higher than Barcelona do in any given season? It's simple as that. West Ham have got to be in there. It's as simple as that. So when you start going down the route of we deserve to be here, and you haven't even got teams like Bayern Munich and PSG there, I think it's just a slippery slope. Anyone in any of the leagues can have a bad season, and if you have a bad season, you should not be playing European football. Simple. You're not the best. You're the best if you finish within the top positions in your league. If you don't play European football. When Juventus were getting chucked out of and docked points in the Italian league and stuff, all the match fixing or whatever else that was going on in that league. That's it. You have to just bear the consequences. You can't just say no because we're a big club, we're staying here. No, if you're getting dock points, you're getting dock points, and I feel that system should always be there with football.
Do you know what? I do get it, and football should and I am like, I'm going to play a bit of devil's advocate here, yeah, because I do feel the same way that you just said, yeah. But playing devil's advocate, yeah. Don't you ever think of it from like a selfish point of view? Like, we are one of these clubs. Like, it's like, all right, yeah, it does. It like, who gets to decide? Us. We are the super clubs now, yeah. We get to decide. It's us. We own this now. We've got to be the kings. We're going to get all this money coming in. If you can come in and we let you in, we'll let you in, yeah. But like, do you know what I mean? Now we're going to play. We're going to dominate. We're going to get our money through. Did you ever think of it from that?
Do you know what? It sounds morally incorrect. That's the problem.
Do you know what though? I don't mind it too much.
What you would tell a young kid about hard work and on merit, that throws everything out the window. So it just sounds morally incorrect.
Yeah, but
because if Man United had a bad season in the Premier League, are you going to really seriously kind of tell me you would be disappointed seeing Manchester United in the next season playing against the best teams? Would you be disappointed? Or would you be pleased?
It won't mean nothing to finish 19th though. If we finished 19th and got relegated, we wouldn't care because the whole thing why we want to finish in a high position is gone.
Like, as a selfish perspective, you just
got to finish 19th. The thing is, that's all right if you're Man United. What about if you're Spurs? Who gives Spurs the right to tell people who should? Do they play Champions League football? Like, Arsenal. Have they ever won a European Cup ever in their existence? No. So I don't know why they should be able to do it. Do you know what I mean? And that's where you go down a slippery slope.
And
I was only playing devil's advocate. That's not really.
I think it's just because like this cup was to have the big fan base clubs actually playing each other frequently rather than actually like having the big clubs like that are actually good. It's more to have like the massive worldwide clubs playing each other so that more fans around the world can actually see like more.
Can't they see the current champion?
But more often.
I mean, all they need to do to Eugene's point, I do actually kind of agree that if they've done this and they've presented it with a few more tweaks to it, where there was an element where if you weren't good enough, you weren't going to be able to get in. And this is just, these were the four, like these are the 15, and these are the 15 that started it. Fine, whatever. But from there, you then get in on merit. I think even just that, it would have been like, why did you get to choose 15? Well, we had the initiative to go and do it. So this is what we did. And this is what's going to be good for everybody moving forward. Going to be bare money coming through. And I think that if they just tweaked it a little bit, then I probably wouldn't have had an issue with it. I wouldn't have had an issue if they said, then the top 4 or whatever, you can qualify into it or whatever. And it was done on that basis. I wouldn't have had a problem. And I feel like Sky have been like, all of this talk, like it's the moral high ground I don't like. So this is what's been annoying me all this time. So I haven't felt strongly against the Super League, more because of the moral high ground that everyone's been playing around here. Yeah, I don't like the fact that Sky have been talking about how they're concerned about the fans being like because of greed in the game and stuff. Like they're charging people £100 a month for Sky, like they have kids and all the rest of it that they need to get with. £100 every single month. Yeah, they wanted to charge £15 for West Brom against Fulham. Like, I mean. And they're trying to come out like they're the ones that are having this moral high ground that they're not going to be standing for it. They're not going to accept it because.
But remember, it was the club. Remember, it's the clubs that voted for that. Remember, the clubs voted for that.
What's that?
The pay-per-view. It was the clubs that voted for the pay-per-view.
Still, I mean, whether the clubs voted for it or not, yeah, the Sky was the people that were more than happy to accept it. Like, I mean, obviously, Sky would have been putting pressure on saying, "We pay for our TV deal. We need to get you." Like, that was one of the main reasons why that thing's about to happen anyway. Sky have been taking the piss out of people, out of the fans for ages, yeah. Even the players, like, we're having to have a game on whatever time and then come back and have a game at Saturday at 10 o'clock or whatever, and the clubs are having to bend to their whim at every point. I see it in boxing, yeah, with the zone coming in. Sky don't like it because they realise that they're going to start getting found out by these pay-per-view things, that people are going to have subscriptions, yeah. And it's something like Man United, let's be honest, yeah, we have, and I've felt good about it, but Real Madrid and Barcelona, the reason why they've been taking the piss out of their leagues for ages is because all their TV rights, all that money they get to send off individually. They're not done as a collective. So they're able to collect and cream off a lot more money than we would. If we went to go out and do that on ourselves, we would have creamed it. We wouldn't have been talking about any competition. And it wouldn't have been unfair. It's just called capitalism at the end of the day. Like, do you know what I mean? That's what, and all these people that are complaining, the Tory party complaining about capitalism, it's like, have a laugh, like what are you joking about? Like, this is just the rules of the game. Like, if someone's come out there, they're wanting to launch a new competition and they're cutting out the middleman, like Eugene was saying, I'm all for it. I don't care. Like, I mean, if that's how they came out in the first place. It was like, we're going to be the Barclays Premier League. We're cutting off the Football League. We're going to start making it very expensive for you to come into the ground. Like, look how much it costs you to get into a season ticket these days. Like, they don't care about the fans. Come on, like, that's been my problem with the whole moral outrage about this whole thing. Like, they tweet it. They wouldn't do none of this. It just did.
Well, would it kill out? But the thing is, my question is, would it kill the league football though, and not just the Premier League? Would it kill the league football?
I don't think it will. I still think teams will still hold the Premier League trophy in high regard. I just see this as a direct replacement to the UEFA Champions League, just a different structure. I don't think it would have killed the Premier League.
Are you saying in the form that it was proposed, as in, like, you know, the 15?
No, I mean, 5? If we tweak it, yeah, if they tweaked it and there were entry requirements. So just basically, let's say this Super League is basically the Champions League, but instead of it being group stage and last 16 quarterfinal, is turned into an actual league. So you play each other once a week or whatever like that.
Isn't that a new proposal anyway, the Champions League?
Huh?
Isn't it a new proposal anyway, the Champions League?
Yeah,
what, to have in a league format.
Yeah.
So it's just increased by. Is it in a league?
No, league format, and then then knockout. So it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, kind of fishy though how that came out.
What happened? Why did this even happen? Oh yeah, we just
one tried to hijack the other.
That came out like the a few hours after the European Super League was announced.
They did that on purpose. They knew that announcement was coming out because everyone at UEFA was pissed because they asked Ed, they asked all of these different chairmen, like, you happy with the new proposal? We're going to launch it on this day. But what they didn't know is these men have already been talking about this European Super League. So they launched that information. They're like, rah, I just spoke to Ed yesterday. He was saying how great it is, the proposal.
I don't know. No, I do think...
Why do you think Ed has resigned then?
We haven't got in touch on that. Is everyone bare happy about Woodward Gone, yeah?
Yeah, bro.
Come on.
I don't know. Why is everyone so happy?
I'm not happy by the way. I'm in the middle. I'm not really happy. I'm not really.
I don't know why.
I'm
Why is
very
everyone so? I'm just here. I mean,
no, it is. I've wanted it for years, innit? Because obviously we've complained about certain business that we've done, innit? So, you know what I'm saying? So
there has to be a fall guy. Like for me,
I think it's more. There has to be a fall guy. I guess he has made a few bad decisions, especially in terms of management. But
a few.
He's got someone that can do his job better. He's like, that's not the best that job can be done, surely. Like,
he's cringy as well.
But how do we go about now finding a new CEO for Manchester United? Do you know how hard that is?
No, what Manchester?
Straightforward.
What did you just say?
Straightforward, mate.
Did you
That's
say
very hard.
you don't think that tomorrow there'll be about 1 million people with their CVs getting posted?
Are they capable? Are they capable though? This is a massive institution. Like, are they capable of taking over Manchester United?
I think there's at least 10,000 people more capable than Edward Wood.
I don't know.
I don't know about.
And plus now, the thing is, now we got the football, we've got technical director and stuff like that. So at least there's some on the footballing side. There's going to be some help for whoever is taking over that role.
I'm not for doing a knee jerk, sort of axing or resigning. I think there needs to be a transition period and stuff. You're saying there's 10,000 people. I disagree.
I just think 10,000.
Give it to Giggsy to be CEO of Manchester United. I don't know. I disagree, man. It's a big job.
I'm joking.
It's a big job.
With the club's interest at heart and not their pocket.
That's what I'm saying. So for us to be letting him go like that or him resigning, there needs to be a transition period. When David Gill went and he came in, it was smooth. It was smooth. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
He is going at the end of the season.
No, it is though. It wasn't really. Was it really?
Yes, it's at the end of 2021. He's going.
So it's in December 2021.
Yeah. So he's not just going like today.
Okay. Oh, that's all right.
So are you happy now?
Yeah, I'm all right. You can't just say man's gone like that. We have no replacement, no nothing. This ain't like management. This is serious.
Glazers could be gone now.
December. So it's in December. So we got time to go through those 10,000 CVs.
Yeah.
But we won't give Glazers, I suppose. They're kind of they getting off a bit scot-free from this, or should we just not even get into that?
There's
scot-free. What did they do wrong?
Glazer talks about
they're trying to make money. What did they do wrong? They saw opportunity, they went for it.
I was about to say, if we start getting into the Glazers, we're gonna get just like permanently barred off Twitter. Like we're gonna get ridiculed. Like we won't be able to do this. Like so. Anyway, though, moving on though, because I didn't want to just leave it all on the Football League because Kai's kind of been and gone through it all now. How about the Badman performance again? Well, maybe not performance. I see a lot of people actually negative on Twitter, but Burnley beat them 3-1. The Greenwood, Gunman Greenwood, back with the 2 goals. Cavani flying high. 5 wins in a row. 8 points behind. Did you say 21 is coming? Like, hey, come on. How's everyone feeling? I mean, Dave, I'm going to come to you because you was, man, that was like early. You was calling it and then got a bit, I don't know, like, what are you thinking? Where we are right now? We're in a good place, right? We're still pushing for semi-finals now. What are your thoughts for the end of the season?
Yeah, I think the season's gonna in the Prem anyway. It's gonna end for us how it is currently. I mean, I think we're gonna have a strong end to the season, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to change any positioning for us. Unfortunately, I think, like I said, I said a couple podcasts. Couple programs ago that we threw it away against Sheffield United and West Brom. Everyone says that United, the squad's not good enough, the club's not good enough to win the Prem, and really and truly, I disagree, man. I think I disagree. I disagree. I think we are good enough to win the Prem. I think we was good enough to win the Prem this season. I think we actually, you can see where we threw it away. If you look at the big teams, the big games, we haven't really lost that many big games. We haven't really conceded that many points in the big games.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what makes a title winning squad. But
yeah, of course. But I'm saying we in that period in January is where we lost the league. You can see
the Everton game, innit? The Everton game really.
We lost the league. We lost the league, man. Like
Culpz.
As much as you can say that City have been phenomenal this season. Well, maybe from the first quarter they were quite bad.
Well, the 21 wins in a row.
they've been great. But then also United, I'm beating away from home this whole season. Like,
That is ridiculous.
We've been equally as good, but just that period in January really messed us up, man. It really just.
There's just a couple.
And obviously, no one believed, and it's easy to say it now because obviously, City are pretty much going to win the league. But the position we was in,
over.
We was in. It's not over.
I don't know if it was good enough to win the league though.
Eugene, when I say that, Eugene, when I say that, we've lost to. If you look at the teams we've lost to, none of these teams should be beating us. We haven't lost to Man City. We haven't been dominated by Man City and beaten. We haven't been dominated by Chelsea and beaten. We haven't been dominated by Liverpool and beaten in the league. We haven't been dominated by
man. That's not the squad. That's Ollie. Culpz, what are you thinking?
But forget about it. Ollie is the squad. Ollie's part of the squad. Ollie is part of the team. Yeah? We have not been outclassed by any team that you supposedly think is better than us this season. That's facts. We've lost games that we shouldn't have lost. Like we lost to Sheffield United, who didn't win a game all season until they come to Old Trafford. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, this is
but still,
pathetic.
I mean, I look at it differently. But Culpz, what are you thinking then? Like, I mean, do you feel like that we've kind of, well, I'm not showing it, Dave saying let it down. I don't want to put words in your mouth. That's probably the one way of characterizing. But do you think that we're overachieving? Or I mean, what do you think? I mean, from where we are right now, and where we can finish. If we finish second and win a Europa League, or we can still win the league. Okay, what are your thoughts? Let me not talk to you.
Yeah, man. I think like if we win Europa, I think that's all we could do, innit? So that's good end to the season, innit? But in terms of the league performance, yeah, I think we're doing good, bro, man. We're doing good. I wouldn't say overachieving. I think there's a few other teams that are underachieving. You could say that, but we're playing well, like, and
okay.
We could be doing better, but like the games that we've lost and the manner we've lost them in, they've cost us, man. Like Dave said, Sheffield United, yeah, and not even just losing, not like they outplayed us on a day. Like it's just 2 moments of just shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? A few like controversial decisions, whatever you could say, but the game should be put to bed. It shouldn't be coming down to decisions against Sheffield, innit? Like,
yeah, I hear that. I mean, what about you, Ronnie? What are you thinking? What are your overall kind of observations of the season?
I'd say pretty good season. We can
finally
started a little bit shaky. Obviously, I don't know. We've had like periods where we're like quite shaky, like the beginning, then January. I'm just hoping that we finish the season strong. If we get the Europa, which I think we will, then I'm gonna say it's a pretty good. Yeah, like you can't really complain.
Can I just
Mark,
before you ask Mark, he's at the point. I'm not saying that United had a bad season, by the way.
True.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. I'm saying it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but Mark, I mean, I get where he's coming from because he's analysing kind of how things have gone during the season, yeah. But I mean, I kind of try and take things back to. I mean, let's say from the start of the season, if you looked at our squad and looked at the squads of everybody else and looked at where the situation was, where we finished last season and look where everyone else finished last season. I mean, what were your expectations at the start of this season, and how do you think we've done against those expectations?
To be honest, I felt like we're doing probably what I expected us to do, which is, well, for me, the minimum was obviously being the top 4, and I feel like it's been lapses in, some silly result, as Dave was saying, some silly results there, because you could say the same thing about the league. We had Sheffield United, Everton, but we did the same thing in the Champions League where we're going slapping PSG, and then all of a sudden, we're crumbling against Istanbul and whatever. So, it's one of those where it's just that small little bit of difference in a few crunch games has cost us in some big moments. But I feel like we're kind of on track. If we're finishing second, closing down the gap to Man City, like you said, if you finish with a trophy this season, and close it out like that, I think, you can't really complain too much.
No, I agree. That's to get a fair, balanced view of things. I mean, what about you, Eugene? I know that you kind of had a bit of your ups and downs. You kind of had your Ollie out moment. You've had your Ollie's a great moment as well. So, where do you stand in terms of where Ollie is at right now? I mean, and the season. I mean, in Ollie, has Ollie changed your mind throughout this season or throughout his tenure in terms of do you now see what he's doing and what he's trying to achieve and progress at Manchester United with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
Nah, he's doing well. He's doing extremely well. I still have my same thoughts about Ollie, which I kind of had in the beginning. He'll just need to be armed with, very good players in and around the squad for us to sort of bridge that gap on City and hopefully win the Premier League. I still have my reservations about sort of tactics and ways in which ways in which he can improve players. I still have my reservations, but he's done well though. I have to admit he's done well. He steadied the ship. Even if he isn't the one to steer us to the Holy Grail, to the promised land eventually, I was still wanting to stay at the club in some capacity, whether that be sporting director or development or something, because he's definitely come in and he's understood the culture of the club. And
but you don't rule that out as manager though, of him taking us to the Holy Grail, do you? Or are you saying
he might, but I mean, there's just still some things I see there, and I'm like, unless we arm him with a great team of players, and and if we don't, then I don't see us really winning the Premier League.
Do you know what it is for me? Yeah, I mean, some of the narratives I would like to address. I mean, we're getting quite late, so we're not going to leave this on for too much longer. But some of the narratives I would like to address. The main one that gets on my nerves the most is the low block. And it's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in terms of a narrative about Ollie and United not being able to break down a low block. And it's only ever United, it's only ever Ollie that you hear that this gets mentioned. And it's just ridiculous. Reason being is that when a team goes 1-0 up, what does everyone say, Everyone says when you go 1-0 up, it's difficult. Why? Because then they can have a low block and it's difficult to break down a low block. Everyone knows in football that it's difficult to break down a low block. It's just a fact for every team, not for Ollie, not for Man United, for every single team. That's why Sam Allardyce made a career out of playing a low block. Now, we've gone on a record of breaking teams down after going 1-0 down. So when they've gone into that low block mentality, we're still breaking these teams down consistently over and over and over and over again. And it's when we draw 0-0 or we don't win, that's when all of a sudden it's low block. Whereas when Liverpool do it every week, when Chelsea do it every week, when all these other teams do it, it's not an issue. So we've scored the second most amount of goals. Only Manchester City can tell me that they can play against a low block better than Ollie. No other team can tell me that in the league. Like, just a fact. We're 10 points clear of everybody else. So that's a narrative I want to address and end.
I don't even know where you went with that. No one mentioned anything about no block.
Listen, mate, get it off your chest. Get it off your chest.
I need to get it off my chest. Just needed it off. But the other thing I wanted to say though is just in terms of, but like with Ollie, I mean, until he wins Premier League, until he wins the biggest trophy, he's always going to have question marks, which is fair enough. Like, I mean, it's just going to be the case that he hasn't done it at a big club yet, so he's going to have that. What I want people to be able to do, though, is at least give him the credit for what he's doing right now and not put a ceiling on him that he hasn't shown that he's got. Like, I don't think anyone realistically expected us to break the Liverpool and City mold this season. We're 8 points behind. We could go on and win the league. We could literally go on and win the league. It's not over. I know people are saying it is. It's not, like, as if Villa managed to pull something up tomorrow.
Listen, we squandered it from this position. Yeah, we managed to somehow piss this one up before. So
they've still got the Champions League. They've still got the Carling Cup. Like, they're still going to be going for that. Now they've still got the momentum of having to have the Super League and like not being like they're feeling bruised after losing against Chelsea. You never City are by far the favourites to win it, but you just never know. Like, and to be in a season where this late on, you still never know. Like, I mean, I think people forget just how bad we were on certain points over these past 8 years to realise how far we've come under Ollie. And they always keep thinking, oh yeah, we can do better, we can do better, we can do better. But I just think like he's shown levels.
But Fudge, I will say, do you know? Sorry, Dave. Just on the Ollie thing, I will say one thing I'm striking with is that some of the mentality parts, because that's not luck to keep coming back from. Do you know what I mean? From being down and finding a way to do it. Obviously, he played under a manager that had that as an ethos. You know, we've seen interviews with Mullenstein, Phelan, and he says, listen, they train to do this. So I feel like, and he was that type of player coming off the bench, changing games. So I feel like he's instilled that in a lot of the players that never say that attitude. So you definitely can, you can definitely strike Ollie, we're doing that for certain players.
So, Mark, just on your point, do you think that's the correct mentality? For example, do you think that United currently have an underdog mentality instead of a champions mentality? The reason I say this is because we always seem to do well when we're the underdog or when we go goal down. But when things seem like we're finally at the top of our game and we suddenly are the favourites, that's when we start messing up. It's happened in the Champions League. It's happened when we was 6 points clear in the top.
No, it didn't happen in the Champions League.
It did happen in the Champions League because we should have gone through.
Yeah, but in the Champions League, I still feel like the games that we lost.
We were favourites to go through a point in the Champions League, and from that point, we went downhill.
We did throw it away a bit.
Yeah, but
one of the games we should have won, we fucked up.
But I think, but Dave, do you know what? I feel like some of that is the next iteration, if you know what I'm trying to say. Like, I think that's the next thing to come, because at the moment we're showing we've got mentality, we can score goals. Now, like Fudge said, we're scoring a lot of goals. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just a case of scoring them first. Do you know? I'm following up with the second and third, killing off the game, and then we start playing our beautiful football. Do you know what I mean? I think at the moment it's a little bit reactive sometimes, but you know that I think that's what's going to come next. And I think when you have, for example, in our team, when you have a better quality midfielders, you know, some better quality in that midfield, especially people that, you know, real number 6 that can control some of these games that we're talking about. We're not going to be going and giving away possession in the first 10 minutes and getting countered. We're not going. Do you know what I mean? It's like sometimes it's literally. I think the other day, even against Burnley, didn't they have the ball in the back of the net after like a minute or whatever, and then the goal got disallowed. So I feel like us having like a proper number 6, and then also up top being able to create those chances like much earlier. I feel like that's the next stage for us, man.
Yeah, no, I agreed with that, because do you know what it is? We're close, and I think the fact that we're close and that we didn't actually manage to go over the line this season is kind of making people kind of, I don't know, some people are more disappointed than if we had been 4th and then we managed to kind of climb to 2nd. We would have felt a bit different then, like if we managed to do it in that sense. Because I agree in terms of the way they went, like we lost against Sheffield United, like they said. We lost games, easy games, but I feel like in a season, that's always going to happen. You're always going to have games where you're going to lose against teams that are worse than you. And our squad, I just felt like it just didn't have the capability in terms of experience, in terms of quality in certain areas, especially when we got injuries to people like Pogba and Martial. It just wasn't able to carry us through. That's what I think anyway. But I hear what
you know what it is, Fudge, yeah? I think when I'm explaining myself, I think you guys are just trying to see it as a negative. I'm not saying it as a negative. What I'm trying to explain it is that people think that United are so far behind City, or so far behind Liverpool the season before the season started, and I'm simply saying we are not that far behind. You can see where the areas where we went wrong, and the areas where we lack in, and we can talk about mentality and whatever. But in terms of playing football, in terms of our team, we're not that far behind, man. Like it's been evident this season. Like.
Well, before we finish, we're going to wrap up. Before we wrap up, we've got a little matter of Leeds coming up. Leeds away coming up on the weekend, yeah? What your thought? Obviously, the first game, Leeds played absolutely brilliantly. They did absolutely amazing to end the game with a wonderful performance, losing 6-2. But what are your thoughts for the next one? I mean, more of the same, or are you a bit more nervous? They feel like, I mean, they just had a good draw against a not so great Liverpool. They should have won that game, really, I thought. But I mean, I'll go to you, Ronnie. I mean, what are your thoughts for that Leeds game? Confident?
Yeah, I'm confident, but I think it'll be harder than the first one.
Yeah.
I mean,
they play the same way, or do you think it'll be different?
I mean, I think Leeds have only really got like just one way to play, kind of. Just high press, and I don't know. I feel like we're going to catch him out a lot. Rashford looks like he's on it at the minute. Greenwood's on fire. Pogba, Bruno, everyone's actually playing really good. So I think we should beat them, but it would just be harder than the 6-2.
Yeah, Culpz, confident. I mean, who are you expecting to? Any shocks to the lineup? So anyone that you expect that needs to start in this game?
No, I think we'll see more of the same lineup wise, to be honest. But like I think like before all the Super League stuff come out, it would have been a difficult fixture. But now I expect to see the players a bit more fired up, like some of the stuff that we read, if it's got truth to it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but Maguire and Shaw, they seem like They come out, they come strong. And Rashford, I can't forget Rashford.
That's what I'm saying. So
man's always
a bit of a fired up performance, especially with the rivalry there as well, like to just top it off. You get me?
Do you guys not think that we're going to start prioritizing the Europa though? We've got Roma 4 days later.
I was going to ask you actually, Dave. I mean, would you rotate or would you play still full strength?
Because I mean, second place is pretty much cemented for me anyway. Now, so it's like, do we hold on to the
title, mate?
Yeah,
do we exactly? But that's my point, Mark. Do we hold on to that hope that Man City are going to slip up? I mean, if Man City win on Thursday against Villa, I think that's pretty much the league done. I think they
5 games. It's 5 games left.
5 games left and 80 points. I mean,
City
got points in more than half.
Bro, we lost. I don't know if you remember, but we lost the league on the last day, mate.
That's what I'm saying.
They haven't got the easy the game.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm just saying what mentality you go into the game with. If City beat Aston Villa on Thursday and they go back to 12 points clear. I mean, 11 points clear.
We should give it up though.
We've still got game in hand, and I feel like
you rather go for the league and then go for both. Guns blazing the Europa.
There's 3 games left in the Europa, hopefully.
To be honest,
there's not 3 games left, mate. There's not 3 games left.
He said,
"It's not." Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, but it's not 3 games left, man. It's not guaranteed.
2 at the most.
We've got guaranteed 2 games.
I'll place it
2 at the very most.
Our place in the final should be booked, man.
I mean, 2 at the very least.
You say that, but we lost to Sheffield United and we drew to West Brom and stuff like that, man.
We also ain't lost.
We lost to Istanbul, and you know what I mean. So we can't say it's cemented.
A lot's happened since.
And our record in the semi-finals, I don't want to bring it up. It's not great, so it'll be great to actually come over that and get to the final at the very least, and hopefully.
I think now's a good time.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is about Leeds? Yeah, Leeds are relentless. So it's a question of fitness as well. It's not going to be an easy game where they just do the low block and do you know what I mean? We dominate the game. It's going to be a very intense game.
But then
it's from start to finish. So it's like you risk your players.
Leeds are tailor made for us, though. If I'm being honest, they're tailor made for us. We absolutely love it. Come on, press.
But weren't they tailor made for Liverpool?
Well, Liverpool are, you know, they're Liverpooling this season. So,
Mark, do you know what it is? Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I think we are going to beat Leeds. But even the game that we beat them 6-2, was it 6-2 or 6-3? 6-2.
I think 2. Yeah, they had a lot of chances.
Even that we beat them 6-2, they made us work for that until the final whistle was blown. They were still sprinting up and down that pitch. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, do we really want our players in that sort of intense game when we've got Europa 4 days later?
Who rest for that game?
I mean, Rashford's getting rested quite a lot now. He's being taken off. He's being managed.
It's our first week off, though, isn't it? Remember that. Wait. That is something that's quite like. This is our first week in the whole season. Our first week off. So to your point, they've obviously been knackered. They've been run to the ground. So do you want to continue that rest? Give them 10 days or whatever before the Roma game. Would you rest Rashford then, Dave? Is that what you said?
No, I wouldn't rest Rashford. I would definitely. He'd be definitely a player I would look to take off if we get some early goals in or whatever. To be honest, even if it's 0-0, 70th minute, I'll take him off.
She could be.
I don't think it's a game that we should risk. I don't think it's a game that we should risk trying to win if we haven't done comfortably during the game. You don't think he's going to start?
I don't think he should start against Leeds. I think it should just be Dan James, bro.
Yeah, Dan James could do it. Dan James, Greenwood.
Yeah, he'll get gaps against Leeds, man. So, like, do you know what I'm
Ronnie.
saying? They'll push up. You go to get him behind easy.
Listen, the way their centre half split, yeah, turn them over, and I'm telling you, our runners will just, do you know what I mean, do what we need to do. So I feel like we can rotate 1 or 2. Dan James should 100% be starting.
Who would you say? Cavani?
Yeah, definitely Rafa and Cotton Wool, man. We're gonna need him in that type of tie against Roma, definitely.
100.
Cool. Well, that's the only game actually that we've got for our next show. So obviously we're gonna start making this consistent again. We're gonna start doing this. Hopefully recording on the Mondays, perhaps Tuesday, depending on what Eugene's saying. But yeah, we'll try and get everyone involved in that. So yeah, I mean, thanks for all of you for coming along again. Obviously, coming to view this. If you stayed this long, man, that's amazing. And if you can like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, hopefully to see you again all next week and share along if you can.
Add Eugene Antonio on Instagram. He's a very good guy. He's a baker. He does this. What do you think? Treats as well, isn't it? Chocolate treats.
I forgot to plug anything. We've got a Twitter, Cockney Reds, MUFC. We've got to go on that. And obviously the channel.
That's it. Big up Eugene Antonio.
And big on.
What are you doing?